Stop praying like a beggar. That's why you're broke. That's why your plans fall apart. That's why the world ignores your voice. You kneel, you whisper, you plead, you call it prayer, but it is nothing more than spiritual hesitation clothed in soft language. You speak to infinite intelligence like a pauper who hopes for scraps, and then curse your results when nothing arrives. You call it surrender. I call it disobedience. You were not made to beg. You were made to command. You were not placed on this earth to mutter wishes and wait. You were not born to collapse in crisis and then look toward the sky hoping a miracle rescues you from the results of your own indecision. That is not how wealth is born. That is not how faith works. That is not prayer. That is drift. There is a law more ancient than any ritual. A law more powerful than any institution, a law that does not care how long you've suffered, a law that does not respond to tears, apologies, or your past mistakes. It answers one thing only: spiritual authority. This law asks you every day, do you think in order? Do you speak in command? Do you pray as one who believes the universe must move when you do? Because if your answer is no, if you pray like a beggar, think like a doubter, and move like a man still seeking permission, you will attract nothing but confusion. You will build nothing but delays, and you will receive exactly what you expect: silence. But if you listen today, not casually, not with entertainment, but with the obedience of a man who is tired of circling the same mountain, then this speech will show you how to pray as a builder, speak as a king, and command your results with spiritual law. You will learn how to approach infinite intelligence not as a beggar, but as a partner. You will learn how to write your definite chief aim like a spiritual decree, how to speak it aloud until your subconscious obeys, how to visualize your prayer as already complete, and how to act in such alignment with law that the world can do nothing but respond. And if you do this, if you pray in precision, speak in faith, and act with no contradiction, you will attract wealth. Not just of money, but of clarity, of power, of identity, of unstoppable momentum. And when you receive it, you will not be surprised, because the man who commands his reality by law does not ask for miracles, he creates them. Now stop everything else. Turn off the world, still your mind, and listen, not for entertainment, but for instruction, because what comes next is not just a new way to pray. It is the end of weakness, the end of delay, and the beginning of your real life. Most men pray like they're poor. They think they're being humble, when in truth they are being weak. They kneel in desperation, not in discipline. They whisper soft wishes to the sky and call it faith, while inside they tremble with fear. That is not prayer. That is spiritual disorder. That is why so many receive nothing. They ask from weakness, not from dominion. Prayer, when it is real, does not begin in the mouth. It begins in the mind. It begins in the spirit, the inner seat of command. It is not begging a distant force to notice you. It is declaring to infinite intelligence that you already know who you are, that you expect obedience from law, not because you are arrogant, but because you are aligned. Most men have never been taught this. They were told to pray softly, to be meek, to bow forever. But the law does not respond to tone. It responds to certainty. If you speak to infinite intelligence like a stranger, it will treat you like one. If you speak like a man of purpose, law obeys. I must tell you plainly, you do not ask for riches. You do not plead for better days. You prepare to receive them by training your subconscious to expect them. And this preparation is the foundation of all true prayer. Until the subconscious accepts your words as real, no prayer is answered. Let me show you how to begin. Start every day with spiritual posture. Stand, shoulders back, eyes forward. Speak to your reflection. Speak to your Creator. Speak to the law. Say it without fear. I do not pray from fear. I pray from vision. I declare my dominion over circumstance. These are not just words. They are signals. When spoken daily, they train the subconscious to walk in certainty. They build the inner man who receives results without surprise because he expected them. Your prayer must become identity. You are not asking. You are announcing your alignment with divine law. Consider Henry Ford. He did not pray for permission. He did not sit in meditation hoping the automobile would build itself. He moved. He spoke. He declared what would be, and then began to act as though it were already done. His prayer was faith in action. His results were obedience of law. You may say, but I am not Ford. And I say that is exactly the problem. You are still identifying with limitation. You are still approaching infinite intelligence like a man hoping to be noticed, instead of one who has joined hands with the law and expects cooperation. You must burn the habit of pleading. Remove from your vocabulary every weak phrase. If it's meant to be, if I'm lucky, I just hope. These are the confessions of a mind still drifting. Instead, speak your desires aloud every morning as if they are already moving toward you. Speak them not as a question, but as law. This is the spiritual function of autosuggestion. It is not mere motivation. It is not wishful thinking. It is instruction given to your inner mind. Prayer, real prayer, is autosuggestion in spiritual form. It is thought organized by belief, spoken with clarity, and repeated until your spirit cannot contradict it. You must treat your subconscious as the altar, not the pew, not the ritual, not the repetition of words learned in childhood, but the living altar of law within you, where every spoken belief becomes a seed, and every repeated thought becomes law. What do you plant at your altar each morning? Doubt? Indecision? I hope things change? Then do not be surprised when the harvest is famine, but plant clarity, plant dominion, plant repetition of power, and your results cannot help but multiply. Your prayer must become structured. It must become muscular. No more wandering. No more vague statements. No more asking for signs. The sign is in your own speech. The miracle is in your daily instruction. The transformation is in your declaration that you are not here to wish. You are here to command. From this day forward, every time you rise from rest, you begin with dominion. You stand. You look yourself in the eyes. You speak as a man who is building his world by law. You say, I am not here to wait for better days. I create them. I speak them. I declare them. And they obey. Because infinite intelligence is not deaf. It is not distant. It is not ignoring you. It is simply waiting for you to stop contradicting your own prayer with weakness. It is waiting for clarity. It is waiting for faith. It is waiting for identity. Now write down this truth and post it above your mirror. My subconscious is the altar. My prayer is the offering. My faith is the fire. My results are the answer. Repeat that truth every day. Let it soak into your speech. Let it rise in your tone. Let it become your expectation. Because once it becomes expectation, it becomes law. And once it becomes law, wealth follows. If your prayer has no fire, it will produce no flame. If your desire is weak, your words are wasted breath. True prayer does not begin with habit or tradition. It begins with burning desire. Without it, all your petitions, your affirmations, your words to infinite intelligence are nothing but noise. Desire is the spark. It is the force that ignites spiritual law. You may repeat every phrase with perfect pronunciation, but if you do not feel it, if it does not move your blood, it will not move your results. The world responds to men who want something so deeply they cannot stop thinking, speaking, and moving toward it. This is why most prayers fail, not because infinite intelligence is absent, but because the man praying is lukewarm. His words say one thing, his desire says nothing, and the law does not obey contradiction, it obeys fire. Weak prayers are simply confirmations of weak desire. The man who prays for wealth but still speaks like a beggar, still plans like a drifter, still expects little, his prayer is hollow. It does not rise. It does not command. It simply circles around his own limitation and returns to him empty. Let me be clear. Prayer is not magic. It is spiritual engineering. It is the welding of thought, belief, and emotional intensity into one dominant vibration. And that vibration only holds power when it is fueled by burning desire. Consider Edwin C. Barnes. He did not pray to work for Edison. He prayed to be Edison's partner. And he did not ask meekly. He declared it to himself so often with such faith and repetition that he became a magnet to the opportunity. It took years, but he received exactly what he prayed for. Why? Because his desire never faded. Barnes held one idea in his mind, like fire in his chest. I will work with Edison. I will become his business partner. I will not stop until it happens. He repeated this prayer with certainty, not asking when, not asking how, just holding it, feeding it, speaking it. That is how desire fuels prayer. When it becomes an obsession, not a hope, when it drives your voice, your pen, your body, your every moment of silence. If you have not felt prayer burn in your gut, you have not yet prayed with power. Now I command you, define your desire in one sentence, not 5, not 10, not vague, one sentence so clear that if I read it aloud, the world would know who you are and what you are building. Once you have that sentence, speak it daily. Speak it like law. Speak it in your mirror. Speak it while walking. Speak it before sleep. The law responds to emotional repetition, not empty echoing, but the kind that vibrates your bones. Say aloud with me, I pray with fire. I do not whisper my wants. I demand my future from infinite intelligence. Let that be your new rhythm. Let it replace your sighs and uncertainties. Every time you want to say, I don't know if I can, say instead, I declare it. I build it. I am becoming it. True prayer must consume you. It must alter your speech. It must drive your planning. It must shape your tone. Your calendar should look like your desire. Your habits should obey your prayer. And your environment should begin to reflect the identity you pray into existence. Now write your desire at the top of your daily journal. Write it each morning in the same words with the same belief, and speak it aloud with emotional force. Do not mumble it. Do not read it like a grocery list. Speak it like a builder reading blueprints. Speak it like a king giving command. If your desire is to become wealthy, do not pray, please help me make money. That is weakness. Say, I am a man who builds wealth through purpose and discipline. I earn $10,000 each month through value, clarity, and law. State your aim. State your method. State your expectation. Then ask yourself, do I speak this prayer as one who believes or as one still seeking permission? Because here is the truth. You are not asking for permission. You are declaring cooperation with law. Infinite intelligence does not need to be convinced to help you. It is already prepared. It simply needs clarity. It needs consistency. It needs repetition backed by desire. Let me warn you, if your desire fades after one hard day, you never had true desire. True desire endures. It sharpens in adversity. It repeats itself louder when results are slow. It refuses to shut up until the thing is done. And your prayer must match that. Not one day, not 1 week, every day, until it becomes who you are. Now repeat this aloud. I do not drift in prayer. I do not stutter in spirit. I do not beg for scraps. I declare my desire, and I reinforce it with speech, thought, and action until the law obeys. Because the law does obey, but only for the man whose fire never fades. Now that your desire burns, let us add the fuel that makes it unshakable, faith. Without faith, your prayer is a ship with no anchor and no sail. It is blown by circumstance, silenced by delay, and drowned by doubt. You may repeat your words, but if fear lives behind your tone, your subconscious will reject every syllable. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is not the absence of hardship. Faith is a decision, enforced by repetition. It is a mental discipline. It is the act of choosing belief even when the world gives you every excuse to shrink. When a man prays in faith, his voice has a tone of command. When he prays in fear, his tone collapses into contradiction, and the law will not follow contradiction. Fear and faith cannot share the same home. They cannot dine at the same table. One must rule. One must be cast out. Every time you choose fear, you close the door to infinite intelligence. Every time you choose faith, you swing the gates wide open and invite the impossible to obey you. Say this aloud: I pray in certainty. I speak to infinite intelligence with the calm of a man who already received. This is the voice you must use, not frantic, not desperate, not apologetic. Calm, clear, definite, like a man who has made peace with his future because he has already decided it. Let me tell you a truth that few accept. The subconscious accepts prayer only when the voice behind it is unwavering. You cannot speak one day of riches and the next day cry out in lack. You cannot declare power at dawn and then gossip and doubt by evening. That is spiritual sabotage. That is how the average man lives, and that is why his life does not change. Consider Abraham Lincoln. He did not pray for the absence of war. He did not ask for an easier path. He prayed for the strength to carry the burden he chose to bear. He believed even when his own cabinet doubted. He moved forward into battle, not because it was certain, but because his decision was. That is faith in action. And if you want your prayer to have force, you must build your faith like Lincoln. Each morning before you speak to infinite intelligence, prime your mind. Repeat your self-confidence formula aloud. Speak your identity. Calm your breath. Set your posture. Set your tone. Because the way you prepare to pray determines the power of your words. Let me be even clearer. Praying while doubting is worse than silence, because it teaches your subconscious that your words are lies. It convinces your spirit that you do not mean what you say. And the law obeys not what you wish, but what you believe. Stop saying, I wish I was rich. Say, I'm a man of wealth, and I receive abundance daily through discipline and purpose. Do not say, I hope it works out. Say, it is working because I work, and the law is on my side. Stop praying to escape fear, and start praying like a man who has already conquered it. You may not feel it yet, but faith is not about feelings. Faith is about what you repeat until your feelings surrender. It is not about waiting for confidence. It is about becoming the man who speaks with conviction whether his knees shake or not. Let me give you the formula. Desire is the fire. Faith is the fuel. Prayer is the channel. Action is the proof. If any one of these is missing, the law remains silent. But when all are present, desire burning, faith spoken, prayer declared, and movement immediate, then reality begins to shift. Now declare with me, I do not pray and question, I pray and command. My faith is not emotion, it is law. I speak what I believe what I speak, and the law obeys. Let this be the rhythm of your morning. Let this be the chorus of your inner world. Let this tone of certainty drown every former whisper of fear, because when your prayer becomes backed by unwavering belief, it becomes unstoppable. You are not praying to the clouds. You are not speaking into empty space. When you pray, you are issuing orders to the subconscious mind, and it is the only altar that matters. It is the seat of your power, the gateway to infinite intelligence, the bridge between thought and reality. It does not judge your words, it obeys them. But not all words are heard. The subconscious responds only to what is repeated with clarity, emotion, and belief. It does not respond to weak requests, whispered hopes, or phrases you do not feel. You cannot fool it, you cannot pretend. If your tone is uncertain, the message is rejected. If your voice trembles with doubt, the order is not delivered. This is why prayer must be more than words. It must be felt. It must be lived. Every prayer is a command, but only the ones spoken from deep emotional clarity pass through to the subconscious and take root. Say aloud with me now, each time I pray, I rewire my spirit. My subconscious accepts only strength, clarity, and definite instruction. This is not philosophy. It is law. It is the reason men who speak with power shape their worlds, and those who speak in confusion drift for decades. Your subconscious is listening all day, every day. It listens to what you say about yourself. It listens to what you repeat in silence. It listens to your tone, your emotion, your self-image. Every word you say is a seed, and your subconscious is the soil. If you plant doubt, it grows confusion. If you plant faith, it grows results. But you cannot plant both and expect a harvest. You must become consistent. You must become deliberate. You must become a man who only speaks what he wants multiplied. Consider John D. Rockefeller. He never allowed panic to enter his speech, not even in economic collapse. When others shouted, he sat in silence. When others feared, he spoke in facts. His prayer was not loud, it was certain, and the subconscious obeys certainty. You must train your subconscious the same way. Create your primary prayer, the one that defines your purpose, your vision, your destiny. Write it in the present tense. Write it as law. And then repeat it 5 times daily, always with feeling. Do not say it casually. Do not mumble it as if reading from a card. Say it like a general giving orders before battle. Say it like your future depends on it, because it does. Let me be clear again. Your prayer is your spiritual blueprint. If you do not read it aloud, review it, speak it, and feel it, you are walking into battle with no map, and the subconscious does not build from guesses. It builds from exact designs. It builds from repeated certainty. Now let me issue a warning. Complaining undoes what prayer builds. The moment you speak in fear, sarcasm, or self-pity, you undo the progress made by your spoken faith. You confuse the subconscious. You halt the construction of your results. Fear spoken aloud is reverse prayer. It gives energy to the very thing you seek to avoid. Never forget this. The subconscious does not care if you're joking, doubting, or just venting. It takes your words seriously, and it acts accordingly. From this day forward, you must become a guardian of your speech. Every prayer spoken must be clear. Every affirmation declared must be exact. Every vision repeated must be laced with emotional power. This is how you train the subconscious to respond like a loyal soldier. Now say this. My words are orders. My tone is law. My belief is fire. And my subconscious moves when I speak with clarity. This is how you transform invisible belief into visible results. This is how you shape your identity. This is how you command infinite intelligence, not with noise, but with order. Now go write your primary prayer. Speak it 5 times today, and each time say it like you mean it. If a man enters a builder's workshop and says, "Make me something," the builder does not begin. He waits. Why? Because something has no structure. Something has no weight, no shape, no material. It is not a request. It is a fog. And infinite intelligence, like that builder, cannot construct from fog. It must receive clarity. This is why most men's prayers go unanswered. They are vague. They are scattered. They are emotional wishes wrapped in hopeful tones. Help me succeed, they say. Make things better. But what things? Better in what way? What is success? Measured how? By what deadline? Through which action? The prayer fails not because it lacks passion, but because it lacks form. You must not be like these men. Infinite intelligence does not reward vague emotion. It responds to order. It multiplies structure. It obeys law. And law is precise. Law is mathematical. Law demands blueprint, schedule, measurement, reason. The man who speaks with detail, who visualizes with structure, who acts with organization. This is the man who builds results through prayer. Say it with me now. I speak to infinite intelligence with the tongue of command. My request is precise. My vision is detailed. My will is unwavering. That is not arrogance. That is alignment with truth. You are not demanding from a deity. You are working with a law. And this law does not ask how emotional you are. It does not respond to tears. It responds to definition. Begin your prayer with gratitude, not because you must flatter the divine, but because gratitude shifts your mental state from lack to abundance. It tells the subconscious, I already live in supply. That signal opens the channel to more. Then speak your vision, name it, shape it, detail it. And if you desire wealth, do not say, I want to be rich. Say, by the 1st of January, I earn $10,000 monthly through my business, serving 50 clients who pay for precision, value, and transformation. I achieve this by working 4 hours of focused time each morning, delivering excellence without exception. This is not just speech. It is spiritual structure. The subconscious understands this. The law respects it. Let me give you the model. Every clear prayer contains 4 pillars: gratitude, specific desire, definite method, and a measured outcome. That is the voice of a man who commands results. Anything less invites chaos. Andrew Carnegie did not simply wish to be rich. He structured his goals. He wrote them. He reviewed them. He allowed no fog in his desires. That is why his subconscious followed and his life obeyed. You must do the same. Write your prayer as a covenant. Post it by your mirror. Speak it every morning before motion. Speak it again before night. Speak it not to request, but to enforce. Speak it like a general reading a campaign strategy aloud to the soul. Now here is what will sharpen your spiritual edge even further. Create your prayer ledger. On one page, write the exact spiritual command you have spoken. On the other, list one act of physical preparation. If you've declared wealth, then list, today I speak to 10 prospects. If you've declared clarity, then list, I write 1 page of my vision statement. If you've declared physical discipline, then write, I train at dawn with no excuse. Each line of prayer must be matched by a line of movement. Each word of belief must be confirmed by 1 act of obedience. Without that, you pray into contradiction. You confuse the subconscious. You insult the law. Hear me clearly. Prayer without movement is spiritual contradiction, and contradiction halts results. Say it aloud. Each command I give is matched by movement. My ledger confirms that I believe what I speak. That ledger will become your record of power. It will show you daily whether your spirit obeys what your mouth declares. And here is the highest law of this part. Order attracts order. Vagueness attracts chaos. Specificity creates magnetism. Clarity becomes wealth. This is not my opinion. It is the rhythm of law. A house is not built with a feeling. It is built with blueprint. So is a destiny. When you speak to infinite intelligence, stop whispering clouds. Speak bricks. Speak beams. Speak blueprints. Do not say, I hope things work out. Say, by the end of this year, I will have produced a result so specific, so measurable, so real, that the world will know I prayed in law, not in fog. Let your prayer match your planner. Let your affirmation match your calendar. Let your desire match your daily steps, because the law cannot resist a man who has brought his vision into total alignment. Now repeat after me. I no longer pray in fog. I no longer speak in maybe. I give my vision in detail. I move with direction. I prepare as one who knows that what I have asked for is already forming. You are not here to hope. You are here to command. You are not here to guess. You are here to declare. Your prayer is your building tool. Your word is your scaffold. Your belief is your mortar. Your action is your proof. Let the next prayer you speak carry the weight of an oath. Let it echo with order. Let it move you to motion. Because once it does, infinite intelligence will not hesitate to move with you. Now hear me and never forget this truth. Prayer without movement is spiritual procrastination. It is the illusion of progress without the price. It is noise without direction. If you pray and wait, pray and wonder, pray and pause, you are not praying in faith. You are praying in delay, and delay is the enemy of dominion. When a man truly believes that his prayer has been heard, he moves. He does not hesitate. He does not overthink. He does not wait for a perfect sign. He acts because the command has already been issued, and he expects law to respond as he does. This is spiritual confidence. This is alignment with infinite intelligence. This is how miracles materialize. Say it aloud. I do not pray and wait. I pray and move. My belief is seen in my steps, not just my words. The man who sits idle after prayer has not prayed. He has merely fantasized. The man who continues in motion, even while nothing is visible, has prayed correctly, because action is the proof of belief. Motion is the receipt of answered prayer. And hesitation is nothing but fear disguised as logic. Let us speak of Thomas Edison. He did not pray for invention and then recline in stillness. He prayed through action. He lit his workshop with desire. He soaked his tools with belief. He worked long after others would have quit, because he knew the law must obey the man who continues. His prayer was not merely spoken. It was hammered, wired, melted, tested. His hands were the extension of his words. You must pray the same way. Every time you speak your chief aim aloud, your next move must reflect it. You say you are a man of wealth? Then how do you walk, speak, and labor today? You say you are building an enterprise? Then where are your orders, your letters, your action steps? Say aloud, my prayer ends with action. My faith moves my feet. I prove my belief with deeds. You must treat every prayer as the spark, and your next step as the flame that brings it to life. A spark alone is not fire. It must find fuel. It must find friction. It must find movement. The law responds to effort as much as it does to speech. This is not merely instruction, it is command. After every prayer, write down one act that proves your belief. Then do it. Before the sun sets, before the night steals your momentum, do not delay, do not drift. Because the longer you wait after prayer, the colder the fire becomes, the softer your tone grows, the harder it is to act, and the more likely your subconscious is to label the prayer as fantasy. Each time you pray and act, the connection between belief and motion grows stronger. You build internal trust. You begin to see yourself not just as a man who hopes, but as a man who creates. And the world responds to creators. Now consider this. The world belongs not to those who pray loud, but to those who move in quiet certainty. The loud man may be heard, but the silent mover is obeyed. His results speak what his mouth never needed to say. His life becomes his loudest prayer. Let me remind you, faith without works is not just dead. It is drift in disguise. It is a form of weakness masked as wisdom. I'm waiting for confirmation, the man says. I'm looking for a sign. But law does not need confirmation. Law is waiting on you. Say this now. Each step I take is sacred. Each act I perform is charged with purpose. My belief is not a wish. It is my command to life. This is not mere motivation. This is the pattern of every man who ever built wealth by prayer. And here is a principle very few understand. Movement itself becomes prayer. When your actions align with your words, your entire life becomes a walking affirmation. When your steps match your speech, your schedule becomes sacred. Your effort becomes evidence, and the law of infinite intelligence bends to your pattern. When you declare that you are building an enterprise, and each morning you rise early to build it, that is prayer. When you say you will earn a specific amount, and you speak to clients, refine your craft, and demand excellence, that is prayer. When you say you are transforming your health, and you eat with purpose, train with fire, and walk with posture, that is prayer. Your life becomes the proof. Your calendar becomes scripture. Your movement becomes a magnet for all that you declared. Now let us go further. Movement not only proves belief, it attracts allies. When you move, you signal to high-energy individuals that you are a man of direction. They feel your momentum. They see your structure. They recognize your rhythm, and they join it. But the man who speaks and delays, he attracts no one. He repels opportunity. He stirs nothing. Do not pray for allies while staying idle. Your movement is what summons the mastermind. Your discipline is what calls them forth. Your focus is what magnetizes those of equal energy. So write this law in your heart. I move, therefore I believe. I act, therefore I attract. I build, therefore I receive. From this day forward, there must be no prayer without proof. Each morning speak your desire, then match it with motion. Do not sleep without having confirmed your word. And when delay tries to return, when your old habits whisper comfort, when the weaker man in you says, wait until you feel ready, speak this truth aloud. I do not wait. I command. I do not hesitate. I execute. I do not wish. I build. You are not here to admire law. You are here to enforce it. You are not here to rehearse belief. You are here to live it. Close this day with one final declaration. I have prayed, now I move, and all the power of infinite intelligence moves with me. The weak man prays for outcomes. The strong man prays to become the type of man who makes outcomes inevitable. This is the great divide. One begs for circumstances to change. The other demands that his identity evolve. The first hopes to receive. The second commands himself to become. And infinite intelligence obeys the second every time. Say aloud, I pray not just for wealth. I pray to become the man who commands wealth. This is not about more goals. It is about greater self-concept. This is not about more money, opportunity, or ease. It is about becoming the man whose habits, tone, speech, and posture are so definite. Results must follow him. You cannot receive what your identity rejects. And if your inner voice still says, I am not that man, then all the outcomes in the world will slip through your fingers. You will sabotage the very success you prayed for, because your self-image cannot hold what your soul does not yet believe. That is why prayer must first be aimed at identity. Let me say it clearly. You are not waiting for answered prayer. You are becoming the man whose life is the answer. Let us take Abraham Lincoln again. He did not pray to become lucky. He did not beg for an easy path. He prayed to become strong enough to walk the path no one else dared. He became a man whose inner frame could carry a fractured nation. He did not request relief. He built resilience. That is identity-based prayer. You must do the same. Every morning, go to the mirror. Do not leave it until you have spoken your identity aloud, not as hope, not as a wish, as a declaration of spiritual law. Say, I am a man of order. I am a man of strength. I am a man of action, clarity, and dominion. Do not say it once. Say it until the voice inside you begins to believe it. And then say it again, until that belief turns into behavior. Most men pray for events. They say, let this happen. Give me this opportunity. Send me this person. But that is a child's prayer. That is the prayer of a man who still believes that success is something that happens to him. It is not. Success happens through you. And until your identity matches the vision, you will repel the very thing you desire. Let me tell you what to stop doing. Stop praying for things you are not yet ready to hold. Instead, build the man who will hold them. Stop praying for riches while living in disorder. Stop praying for opportunity while hiding in fear. Stop praying for influence while speaking like a man unsure of his direction. First become, then receive. This is why your prayer must be a spiritual mirror. It must reflect not just what you want, but who you must become to receive it. Write this down and place it by your mirror. I pray not for outcomes. I pray to sculpt the identity that creates outcomes. Then every day ask yourself, not what do I want, but who must I become? That question changes everything. That question awakens power. If you want wealth, are you living in financial clarity? If you want to lead, do you speak with certainty and act with structure? If you want influence, do you carry yourself with the discipline of a man who cannot be ignored? If not, you are not ready. And prayer, no matter how passionate, will not override identity. Now say this, I am becoming the man my vision requires. I am no longer waiting for answered prayer. I am walking in it. Understand, you are not asking for permission. You are building alignment. You are creating a vessel fit for the power you wish to hold. And when the vessel is strong enough, the answer must come. Law will not delay it. So begin a ritual today. Every morning, speak your identity prayer aloud, not what you want to have, but who you must be, not what you hope happens, but what you are building within. Say, I am a man of strength. I command my thoughts. I lead my emotions. I walk in discipline. I radiate order. I do not wait. I become. That is not poetry. That is power. That is instruction to the subconscious. That is how you build a magnet that wealth cannot ignore. Do not let a day pass without it. Now hear this final truth. The man who builds his identity through prayer becomes unstoppable. His tone changes, his posture changes, his time changes, his circle changes, because everything external must eventually conform to the internal law he has declared. That is why you must not just say it, you must live it. Your actions must echo the identity you speak. Your decisions must confirm it. Your habits must obey it. Only then does prayer become visible. Only then do you stop hoping for change and start becoming the very force that commands it. Close with this affirmation. Each time I pray, I reinforce who I am, not who I hope to be, who I choose to be. Now I say to you, not with suggestion, but with spiritual certainty, you are not merely the speaker of the prayer. You are its answer. You are its proof. You are the living extension of every command you have declared. And whether wealth, power, peace, or victory enters your life depends not on what you ask for, but on who you become. Let us cast aside forever the idea that prayer is an act separate from living, that it is confined to a corner, a moment, a ceremony. This is drift in disguise. Prayer is not merely what you whisper in stillness. It is what you build in motion. It is how you think, how you speak, how you walk, how you respond when fear returns. Your life is your prayer. Your decisions are your declarations, your attitude, your rituals, your order. These are the verses. These are the lines. These are the proclamations that infinite intelligence reads and responds to. Say this now with full force. I am the living answer to the prayer I have spoken. No more waiting, no more wishing. You walk now as a man who is already obeyed by law, a man whose thoughts, speech, and habits confirm what he asked for. Because here is the law. Wealth does not come to the man who prays once. It comes to the man who prays daily through discipline, through clarity, through emotional control. It comes to the man who no longer separates prayer from preparation, who no longer divides belief from behavior, who no longer asks, when will it come, but declares, it is already forming, and I walk toward it without hesitation. Say this aloud and etch it on your soul. I am the proof of spiritual law. I speak with power. I move with certainty. I receive with discipline. And now, if you are to truly graduate from this message, if you are to become not a listener, but a living force, then you must complete this exercise. Write your final spiritual declaration, not a request, not a poem, not a vague hope, a personal covenant, a contract between your identity and infinite intelligence. State who you are, what you are building, how you will act, and how the law must obey you. Speak it aloud every morning and night for 30 days. Let it become your mental law. Let it reprogram your spirit. Let it destroy every echo of the weaker man who used to beg and replace him with the builder who commands. Say, I no longer wait for a sign. I am the sign. I no longer beg. I prepare. I no longer hope. I act. Remember this. Every act of gratitude is prayer. Every moment of discipline is prayer. Every time you refuse fear, correct your thoughts, reject complaint, and speak only belief, you are praying. Prayer is not separate from life. Prayer is life. When you open your eyes in the morning and direct your mind toward your definite aim, that is prayer. When you review your goals, speak them aloud, and take action before emotion speaks, that is prayer. When you silence doubt with a sentence of decision and move with the calm of a man who already received, that is prayer. And when you do this day after day, without apology, without break, without contradiction, you become magnetic to wealth. Because wealth is not some mysterious reward. Wealth is the result of spiritual obedience. It is the echo of daily law. It is the byproduct of living prayer. Do not miss this. If your life is still ruled by randomness, fear, and emotional drift, it is because your prayer has remained an event, not a rhythm. But if you make prayer your rhythm, discipline your thoughts, train your speech, walk in clarity, command your focus, then nothing can stop the wealth that must follow. Because wealth is not the goal, it is the consequence. Now close with this. My thoughts are prayer. My speech is prayer. My calendar is prayer. My action is prayer. I walk as a living prayer, and all I desire is already adjusting to obey me. Let the weaker man die. Let the drifter go. Let the fog be burned. Let this new version of you walk with power. And now, here is your final command. Write the burial letter to your former self, the man who begged, the man who waited, the man who hoped while doing nothing. Write to him. Thank him for his service. Then burn it. Go to the mirror. Stand tall. Speak your identity aloud 3 times. Lock eyes with yourself. Say it like law. And let the universe adjust. Because from this moment on, you do not merely pray, you become the prayer.